Alright, hello everybody. So it is March 7th, 2021, and as I predicted last week, the Shannara Chronicles, Sword of Shannara, proved too long for me to finish in like less than a week. I think it actually took me like 11 days, so that ruined my little momentum that I had going there. I was reading 5 books a week, because that's no longer the case. I read 2 books this past week. I did, however, tonight finish up my first draft, so hopefully that should give me some more time to be reading. And I'm also like 130 pages into a domestic thriller, so that should go by fast. And then, looking at all the books that are possible for me to read next, there are quite a few small ones, or quick ones, so we should be able to get the momentum going again. But the first book that I finished was a book that I read for school for teaching, was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I haven't read this book since high school, and I remember reading this book in high school. I finished it and was like, wasn't the best book. And I read it this time and still like, wasn't the best book. And I know there's a big push away from teaching To Kill a Mockingbird. I will say, I would be lying if I didn't say that the fact that it's one that we own wasn't a huge factor in me teaching it. But also, I do think that it's an interesting introduction to things like racism and wrongful conviction. Obviously, there are a lot better books about racism out there, but it's a kind of a good basic one where it's like, racism bad, and like, yes, we know this, but when you're teaching in a rural, mostly white except for the 3 native kids, North Dakota high school, sometimes some of them need that reminder. So yeah, it's fine. It still didn't impress me very much. I did try to put more of a wrongful conviction spin on it, because like I said, I know there are better books about race out there. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars again. If for some reason you don't know what To Kill a Mockingbird is about, it's about a little girl in Alabama in the 30s, and her father ends up defending a black man in a rape case because he's a lawyer, and it's a classic, American classic. It's fine. I've never understood why people got so worked up about To Kill a Mockingbird, because it's just fine. It's not a bad book. It's not a poorly written book. The characters are vaguely interesting. The plot's vaguely interesting. The subplots are vaguely interesting. The vocabulary is pretty good, but I've just never been super into it. It's just always been straight line, flat line, meh for me. So there's that. So then I did finish The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. This is a 726-page book, and I'm not a huge fantasy fan, but this is, if you don't know, the series did get a TV show a couple years ago, and it got kind of big then, but this book wasn't part of the TV show. They just went from book 2 onward, I think. I don't know. But this is about a half-elf hanging out in this kind of really rural town when a druid shows up and is like, you have to save the world, and it's fun. I actually like this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. That didn't mean I loved it. This was a very meh 3-star week for me, because I gave this one 3 stars as well. But I liked, there's something about the writing that was weirdly engaging. I will say I did skim quite a bit, because like I said, I'm not a huge fantasy fan, and apparently this is very, very Tolkien-y. I've never read Tolkien. I've never read Lord of the Rings. Like I said, I'm not a fantasy fan. But this was on the book wall, so I had to read it. But I like I said, the writing was weirdly endearing. The characters were okay. I really liked Flick. Flick was he was that kind of he was just like that. I can't believe this is happening, and I can't believe I have to deal with it, and I do, and I'm gonna complain the whole time. And I really liked Menny and Leah too. He was fun. He was really interesting. He did have some really interesting character growth. There were some really interesting characters that Shay met along the way. Shay himself was kind of boring and dull, but he met some interesting ones along the way. Like I said though, I skimmed quite a bit, and so to the point where sometimes I had no clue what was happening, because I kind of it was it's a weird thing to explain, because I enjoyed reading it, but the whole time I was like, when is this gonna be over? I read the last 250 pages yesterday and today, between yesterday and today, and it is just I'm caught, because part of me wants to keep it. Most of my books, if I give it less than a 4 stars, it's for sure gonna go in the box of stuff to take to the school. And I know I have some kids who would enjoy this book. I've got some fantasy fans, but I kind of want to keep it, and I don't know how much that is the fact that I just really liked Flick. Like, he was so fun. Like, I loved him so much, or just like it was just weirdly endearing. Um, I don't know, I enjoyed it, but then again, I skimmed so much of it, I hardly know what actually happened at the end. And it's very like middle of the road, and I gave it 3 stars, so I'm not sure, but I did read it, so there's that. But yes. Hopefully next week I will get more read. I know I'll get Behind Closed Doors read. We do have a 4-day weekend this coming week. I only work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we've got our spring break, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So maybe I'll do another reading blog. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks, but and get some stuff read then. Yes, hopefully. I did kind of break my book buying shrinkage today because I got a gift card to Barnes and Noble, so I bought a book even though I wasn't supposed to, but it'll be fine. It's just one. It's just I did not buy 3, which would have made me go over my gift card and have to use my own money. I only bought 1, so I'm doing great. But yeah, that is all I have today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye. And hopefully next week I read more books and better books. But yeah.